What's up, everybody? It's me, Night Wolf, and I'm back with a YouTube video. I know, shocking. I'm surprised. But I wanted to talk about something that kind of came up a few days ago, uh, around the Gundam community, and it not really super planned out video, but this has been on my mind for the last couple days, and I'm just wanting to get it out of my system and get it out of my head. So I want to talk about fujoshi. I want to talk about BL in the Gundam fan space, and how it seems to me, at least, that there is a subset of the Western side of the Gundam fan base that's just horrified that this type of content exists. They hate it. They seem to be pretty bigoted. Actually, there's a fair bit of bigotry going on from what I am seeing on my timeline, or at least from certain accounts. So I wanted to briefly cover those topics and actually, get into it. So this account, who I will just call Dumbshar for the remainder of this video, says, it's all making sense. I now understand why Gundam is being invaded by the queerverse. It's all this monstrosity's fault. Of course, leaving a picture from The Witch from Mercury. Now, one, I want to point out this person has the Twitter blue check mark. Obviously, they get money. Probably not a lot, but they do make money by making rage bait. So, odds are this thing was rage bait in an attempt to get attention. And it worked! Congratulations. But, probably didn't go the way that they were thinking. Didn't really show them in the putting their, I guess you could say, best foot forward. They got pretty heavily scrutinized by a good amount of the Gundam fan base. Very little of it seemed to be good on their end. I do not see a whole lot of positive side coming from their side of this conversation. And I think my main issue and my main problem with a lot of this is that the Gundam fan base, at least the Western side, we have not been around as long as the Japanese have. Like, Gundam's almost 50. We're reaching toward that 50-year anniversary, and that'll happen next year. So, Gundam's only been around for what? Since early 2000s, so maybe we're closing in on about 30 years here in the West. Like, maybe we already have. I don't think so. Like, I think Gundam Wing came out in the early 2000s. I'm guessing. If I'm wrong, you can correct me, or I might put a mark on the video to correct myself, because I think it was like late 90s to early 2000s when Gundam started coming out here. So, and the thing is that we have, as a community on the Western side, not been able to fully interact all the time with the Japanese side of the community. And even more so to that point is this whole thing of people getting upset or angry that people of minority, or just minority groups in general, being a part of fan spaces and being a part of communities. This has been an issue for quite a while that I keep on noticing. And the reality is that and this is just coming from my own personal experience, I think that a good amount of us that were in the West lived very sheltered lives before the internet. And a lot of us did not get to see a lot of the other types of representation that was happening, or talk to people of the fandom that were part of different groups, those who are part of the LGBTQ community, maybe fans who are just fans of BL, or just in general yaoi and yuri fans. This was not a super common thing. I don't think it has been it's only been a more recent development ever since like the internet, and it's become more and more obvious that these fans have been here pretty much since the beginning. They've been supporting stuff from the onset, and the fact that, especially for Gundam, there's this subset of the community that I think is just like these alpha male type chuds, if I can even say the term, who really think that Gundam is this monolithic thing for men only, and like no one else is allowed in the party, or maybe they are allowed into the party but only under certain conditions. Like apparently, people of the LGBT community are not allowed here for some reason. And it's like, it's one of the weirdest things I've ever seen, because like, even though maybe in the past I didn't fully grasp or understand it, but now it's a lot more of an obvious thing. Like, I've made jokes in the past specifically about Gundam Wing, which by the way, let's show this image here. I want to show this. I've made jokes constantly about Gundam Wing, and that literally it's a boy band. By the way, I also make this same joke for like Gundam 002 on occasion of it's just a boy band. And just look at this. Just look at this. These are official, by the way. These are not fan art. These are official illustrations for Gundam Wing. Show from the 90s. And like boy band craze, and clearly also leaning in a little bit into that, Gundam fujoshi bait, or just fujoshi bait in general. And it's like, you can maybe try and make an excuse or try to ignore this, but come on. I think you're hurting yourself in your own confusion by just denying that this is these are official images. This is stuff that is happening. It's like, I mean, come on. We've got Tierra Arde. And like, come on. Guys, come on. Like Tierra Arde. A character who was also dressed as a woman. And I mean, we can also include like, and obviously Tomino's not ashamed of this stuff either, honestly. He's not ashamed of it. He's not upset by it by any stretch of the imagination, because we know that Loran Sayak cross-dresses constantly in Tournai. Now, I myself have, yes, not watched Tournai. There's a lot of Gundam shows I have not fully gotten my hands on because I am a very busy person, but I do want to get into watching them at some point. But, like, even I know Loran cross-dresses. Now, context and reasoning as to why, it matters in the context of the show. But what it's trying to do is a little bit more complicated. Like, or not that complicated. It's like fujoshi bait. Cross-dressing male characters is a thing that anime can do sometimes for fujoshi or for a variety of other reasons. Challenge the gender norms of man and woman, or I don't know. There could be a lot of context for a lot of different shows depending on what the context of that content is. So, to say that, like, I don't know, like Gundam is straight and stuff. Like one of this guy's posts was like trying to literally insult, fans of Gundam Wing who are gay. It's just like, it's some of the most, oh god, it's just like the biggest forms of bigotry just like out in the goddamn open. But like, seriously, like, this guy is posting stuff about watching Gundam Wing in the 2000s, and actually, quote unquote, actually watching the show. Where opposed to, like, other people were not watching the show and were busy, performing acts with their partners. And it's like, that is such nasty behavior. And I'm just, like, so confused. I'm not really confused. It's like, people are pointing out, like, rent must be due. This person's desperate. Because, like, the thing is like, the back and forth conversations between him and some of the other idiots who are making these comments and whatnot, it's like, they can't even acknowledge when there's official art. Like, we showed the official art from Gundam Wing, They can't even acknowledge or accept that it's a thing. They just can't. They can't acknowledge or accept that the Gundam fan base has fans of all types. And I'm going to just pretty much just flat out say it. Gundam is for everyone. In my personal opinion, like anybody can get into Gundam. That's been my thought process from the very beginning. I don't care if you're a fujoshi. I don't care if you're bi, straight, whatever. It doesn't matter. It doesn't. Like, your skin tone doesn't matter. None of it matters, because Gundam is at the end of the day, is about humanity. It's about connection. It's about, you know, fighting against warfare, you know. And yes, also about cool robots doing cool things. But primarily, the main focus that Tomino has always talked about is an anti-war message and humans understanding each other. And like I've been noticing, especially for Western fans, there seems to just be a severe lack of understanding, a sheer lack of not getting the message. A lot of people love to point that out because, you know, it definitely seems, I don't know if this is a thing that happens in Japan with certain fans, but it definitely happens a lot here. This level of, oh, look at the cool robot, but don't look at the messaging, or don't look at the important elements that Tomino and others are trying to make. Like, guy even went after, you know, other, you know, like cosplayers and whatnot. There's a whole laundry list of, like, just people, that, like, guys like this being like some of the most horrible people on the internet, claiming others are tourists, claiming that like the rest of us are not fans of Gundam because, you know, we don't act the same way that they do. And it's some of the dumbest nonsense I've ever seen. And what's really interesting, one of the comments that I responded to was this one. And I thought it was kind of interesting because, you know, there's this whole conversation about, like, you know, Yaoi saving Gundam or Fujoshi saving Gundam and stuff. And, like, when people are talking about, like, oh, but the model kit sales is what, you know, saved the franchise. And financially, yes, it's what helped make more Gundam. But here's the thing, and here's my, like, big point that I would like to make. Yes, historical points to Gundam model kit sales. But here's the thing. How do you financially incentivize fans to buy product? How do you get... There's the other half of the element to me. There's the whole element of the fans are also what help make a franchise continue to grow, to continue to build. Fan community is just as important as the financial incentive that companies have. So, in all reality, Gundam does benefit from its fujoshi fan base. Or just anybody in the fan base, no matter what their creed or color is, or whatever, or their gender or anything. They are a part of the space and a part of the community. And if they are contributing, whether they're making fan art, doujins, whether they're doing other things, cosplaying, whether they're writing papers about it, right, making videos, whatever the case may be, no matter what they are, there should be a very clear understanding that they're a part of this community. They've helped build it too. It isn't just, you know, men. It isn't just straight men. Everybody has been a part of that process from the very beginning, even before the Western fans even stepped foot in it. And that's why I mentioned G-Witch, you know, in this tweet, because, you know, if sale is the main factor, then it would stand to reason that Yuri made Gundam popular again and made Bandai bank with, you know, The Witch from Mercury. So it's kind of wild to me that, you know, these guys don't want to engage in conversation. None of them do, because they're cowards, in my personal opinion. They're never going to, like, be able to rebuttal this. It's just another day in the office of rage baiting and bullshit merchanting, because they can't do anything else. They got nothing in the tank. Nothing. They've got nothing. They've got zero. Zilch. Goose egg. Yeah, they just suck. They're horrible people. Like I said, I think that both stances are true. The model kit sales and the dojins and all of the support from the fan bases, both male and female, is what has made Gundam what it is today. But I want to quickly pivot real quick to this tweet. Now, I've been aware of Micah for some time now, and Micah's videos in particular about Gundam in general. And his lore videos, I would say, are fine. They're not the worst things in the world. They're fine. They're serviceable. If you want to watch lore videos to probably fall asleep to or have as background noise, I'm sure they're a great time. But the thing is that Micah Curtis kind of, in my personal opinion, facilitates this kind of nastiness in the Gundam community. And because he's a larger content creator, you think that he would at least have some level of responsibility and not be a piece of shit. But in all honesty, since I've known about him for some time, I don't think that's really gonna change. He's kind of an asshole. Of course, he openly admits to that. But, you know, the thing is that, you know, he puts out this tweet, you know, and tries to rebuttal it, and, you know, claiming it's an urban legend. But in my personal opinion, it's just a denial of the fact that those fans are there. Like, you're not acknowledging the fans that are present. You don't want to acknowledge the gay people, the LGBTQ community, or anybody else that is in this community and in this space who is not the same as you. And to me, that is a little bit of a problem. It's fine if you want to, you know, say that, like, you know, they weren't the only, you know, the only factor. If you want to just, like, deep dive into it, like, sure, you know, maybe drop some links and some sources in your videos every now and then, Micah, you know, that'd be nice and helpful. You know, for a former journalist, you sure seem to lack the ability to do stuff like that sometimes. It's like, most of your stuff is speculation and very little of it is properly sourced. So I have questions. Do you source your stuff? You source it? No, there are no sources for anything in this video. All he'll do is just, like, drop stuff into the video, and please ignore the ad. But there are no sources. There's none. Like, he doesn't link to anything, which I think also is kind of sketchy, especially for a journalist who tries to, or former journalist at least, that tries to purport a very, like, he's, you know, an authority on this topic. Hey, if you're such an authority on it, Mike, cite your sources. You know, I think that that's something that you can do, like you and your editor, I'm sure, can cite sources, right? Cite sources. This guy's able to cite sources. This guy did an entire thread responding to Micah about, you know, the fujoshis and in general. Gundam Complete Record, Volumes 1 through 5. Volume 5 implicitly gives credence to the fanzines and dojins made by both fans of all genders, but primarily fujoshis of their day. 0079's importance in queer Japan culture supersedes that of most Western interpretations of that movement. And this guy goes into pretty in depth, actually. I'd actually love to see this person's like. They are from. Hey, they're. This is translated from Japan. I don't know if they are actually in Japan or that they speak Japanese. They have an internet archive. Well, would you look at that? They've cataloged a bunch of doujins, looks like. Content may be inappropriate. Yep. Okay. Like, I even saw a Gundam one. There's a Gundam one right here. Like, this is a poster. Oh, this is an official work. Compilation poster, never mind. I just noticed it and thought it was cool. Thought it might be a doujin. Oh, what's this? This is Gundam related. Yep, this is a doujin with Garma. This is old, 1981. And there's a ton of these doujins in this archive. I may have to dig into this. Not so much to just like read doujins and whatnot, but just to see like the history more of this. Maybe I'll do a stream about these. I am going to bookmark this because this is important. And I'll keep this original guy's stuff here. I'll also even, I'll also link his stuff in the video if you want to go and check it out yourself. I'll go link his Twitter and whatnot. Go check him out. Go check out Retro Anime Chris. Seems like he's a cool dude. Seems like he's into Gundam and into a lot of stuff. So yeah, like this person goes into the history of a lot of stuff, and I could go through the whole thread, but I'm not going to. Like I said, I'll link the original thread in this video. You guys can go and read it yourselves. I've read it, and it's pretty clear that like these doujins are a big deal. They are not just like a flight of fancy. Actually, this comment pretty much, I think, sums it up pretty well. Genuinely sad to see people will try to discount the progress and influence of queer groups because they don't want to share a space with them. Gundam is meant to be a hobby space for everybody. So it is frustrating when they gatekeep against people who don't fit their narrative. And to be completely honest, this is exactly what Micah is doing. That's what he's doing, in my opinion, is he's just trying to do his best to just like ignore the fact that they're here. I don't want to ignore the fact that, fujoshis and others are in the Gundam fan base. It's kind of hard to, even when I go to like eBay or Mercari and I'm looking for Gundam related merchandise and I type in Gundam stuff and doujin stuff shows up. Okay? Kind of hard to ignore it when there's clear fujoshi stuff literally all over the place. Okay? It would be better for all of us if we just accept that they're here. Okay? If you don't you don't have to engage with those elements. That's fine. You don't have to. But like acknowledging that they're here, acknowledging that they are a part of this space, they're not going anywhere, it would be a lot better for all of us to just accept that. I'm accepting it. I still love Gundam. It doesn't change how I view Gundam, doesn't change how I view characters very much at all, honestly. I still like Gundam. I still like the characters. I like the canon, but I can also get down with whatever fan theories and fan ideas. It doesn't bug me. It doesn't ruin anything. If anything, it expands and shows the love and appreciation that Gundam has, or that the fans have for the franchise, to be specific. So yeah, like this is just kind of annoying. This is just an annoying situation, or just like it's stupid. Not annoying. It's stupid. A bunch of merchants trying to peddle bullshit. A bunch of Westerners who have only been in the fan base for probably less than 30 years, trying to put their foot down and trying to claim that they know more than everybody else. When they don't. They don't. Like, if you guys know so much, cite your sources. Prove it. I mean, I would happily be willing to hear it out. I'd be happy to see the evidence. But there isn't any. At least you guys aren't providing it. It's sketchy at best half the time when you guys do provide it. And to be quite honest with you, it's a whole bunch of the reality of that. A lot of these guys have, like, fragile male egos that can't handle the fact that these people, that, you know, queer people are in their space. That's the reality of it. It's like, this is a masculine thing, therefore it is mine. But, like, they're so fragile about it. It's fragility. And it's pathetic. Anyway, that is what I wanted to rant about. That is what this video is all about. I hope you all enjoyed it. Please feel free to, share your thoughts in the comments section. I'm always open to hearing from you guys and what your thoughts are on this. I haven't talked about Gundam in this type of context in some time, so I hope you all enjoyed it. A little bit more ranting. Maybe I will get back to this in the future. Maybe I'll respond to or react to videos from Micah himself, because there are some videos that he has done in the past that I personally do not like and that I think have been pretty nasty or just toxic. But hey, you guys let me know what you think. Would you like to see more of that type of content? Let me know. And I will see you all next time. Bye.